start about where we are as a ministry and department. We have a 6-point strategy, right? There isn't time, you can look it up on the website, 20th of August report. We're reporting back on that on the 5th of November next week. What are we saying? We're saying, firstly, that we must have a more effective and efficient department. 2, less fragmented and fractious ICT sector despite the obvious competition for profits and so on. Thirdly, a realistic and realizable set of goals between now and the elections. Fourthly, a firmer foundation being set through the strategic choice of these goals for the next 5-year term for more effective service delivery. The finalization of the ICT policy review, and finally, slocating everything we do between now and then in terms of the NDP and NGP. We have a 10-point program, not the Unity Movement one, please. It just happens to be 10. Broadband, obviously, we're finalizing that. I'm coming to that by the 4th of December cabinet meeting. Develop an effective spectrum policy. I'll deal with where we are on that. Cost to communicate being reduced. And here I want to say we welcome what the ICAS has done, and we are clear that unless we, if we have to build an inclusive, fairer and more equal society, we have to ensure that nobody is excluded from accessing ICTs because of prohibitive prices. There's a concentration of the media market, we're the most concentrated in the world, I think, if I'm right. Certainly a Columbia University expert tells us that. And we got domination of huge, powerful monopolies or duopolies, and that is against government policy and the majority party's policy. Okay, then we are saying that, look, we need to stabilize the SOCs, service underserviced in rural areas, corporatization of the Post Bank, ICT policy review, the National ICT Forum being launched next year, and community media. So we're well aware that we're in the midst of a dynamic and rapidly changing environment. Research ICT Africa presented a policy paper saying what's happening to ICT in South Africa, and states that the phenomenal growth of the ICT sector despite all our challenges, and its contribution to GDP, it is claimed, is around 6%. However, it also indicates, this report, that policy and regulatory inadequacies have kept voice prices exceptionally high in the mobile market. South Africa ranks 22nd of the 46 African countries surveyed in the RIA Pricing Transparency Index. Access to broadband is the next challenge, and we are seeking to do that. Now, the National Development Plan commits ourselves as a government to 100% broadband access by 2020. That's in a mere 7 years' time. It's a tall order. Last week, we hosted our final discussion with shareholders on our new draft band policy. Most of what I say now is literally taken from the broadband draft, okay? Literally in quotes. I haven't changed much of the wording. Our strategy, plan, policy in the first instance is called South Africa Connect, creating opportunities and ensuring inclusion. It gives expression to a vision that we say is of a widespread communication system which will underpin a dynamic and connected, vibrant information society and a knowledge economy that is more inclusive, equitable and prosperous by 2030. That's the vision. I think that's drawn from the NDP actually. But the NDP goes on to note that we're looking towards an ecosystem of digital networks, services, applications, content and devices which will be firmly integrated into the economic and social fabric of the country. Together, these broadband elements provide an enabling platform for economic enterprise, active citizenship and social engagement and innovation. It will connect public administration to the active citizen, promote economic growth, development and competitiveness, drive the creation of decent work, underpin nation building, and strengthen social cohesion, and support local, national, and regional integration, close quote. South Africa Connect notes that, and I put this in inverted commas because it's literally the words from our draft at the moment, many earlier broadband policies, we note there, drew on definitions based on bandwidth and speed, and initially on the minimum speeds of the ITU. However, from a policy point of view, for us at least, this has limitations. The needs of countries are quite different, and standard minimum speeds rapidly become out of date with technological advances, in line with the growing trends towards defining broadband rather in terms of functionality. In South Africa, we want to refer to broadband as, and I must stress it hasn't gone through the cabinet process. It goes to SIP 15 next Thursday or Friday, I think it is, then the Cabinet Committee and Cabinet. So this is the current draft, the one that we've now engaged with stakeholders on last week, Friday, on the 25th. Here it is for what it's worth, the definition for now, an ecosystem of high capacity, high speed, and high quality electronic networks, services, applications, and content that enhances the variety, utility, and value of information and communication for different types of users. So that's our definition for now. However, this should be read with reviewable targets. We've set targets in the draft. We want to take it to Cabinet and see what the collective Cabinet says, but the drafts will be reviewed by the Minister of Communication in consultation, possibly after consultation, I'm not sure, with all sorts of stakeholders. Each year, I think we should have an annual review of progress and review the targets, needless to say. And ICASA will actually have some role to play because the targets we're setting are minimum and they'll be reviewed and periodically supplemented by ICASA. What are the objectives of South Africa Connect? Quickly, affordable broadband to meet the diverse need of different sectors of society, policy and regulatory conditions that enable public and private sector players to invest in and in other ways contribute to reaching our broadband goals. Thirdly, efficient public service delivery, including e-government services, underpinned by the aggregation of broadband needs, demand to drive economies of scale, a strong national skills base, in the next point, that is developed for the country to be proficient and globally competitive as a knowledge economy, a vibrant creative and software industry producing content and applications. Now, South Africa Connect, those are the objectives. There's a four-pronged strategy: digital readiness, digital development, digital future, and digital opportunity.